Hi guys, I hope you're doing absolutely amazing so far. Welcome to this video where we'll talk about environments and system controls. So we'll start off with understanding the at environment keyword and dot environment modifier, and then we'll talk about some system related controls that helps us make better applications, not just performance wise, but to avoid unnecessary tabs by the user. So I've mentioned here we'll talk about at environment and dot environment. It's a modifier and it's a annotation. We'll talk about supporting dark and light modes, how we can create UI that will support both the modes, and handling the keyboard focus. When you click on a text field, then your keyboard will appear, and there is much more business use cases there that we'll talk about. And this is something that that is where we use at focus state, which gives us a lot of new things as compared to the normal text field. We'll talk about AsyncImage, which is just an asynchronous way of fetching image from a URL. And in concurrency, we talked about what is asynchronous code. So we'll take a quick brief on to understanding what is asynchronous as well. So let's get started understanding environment and not environment. So I have a simple setup as we usually have. We have the device and system examples view, or I should better name it environment and system true example view, and that is what we are calling in our preview. And we'll go to our application and we'll put it here as well, so that in case we want to run our application, we have the system ready. So this is our environment and system control examples view where we will be running our examples, and these are very simple examples, very awesome examples to understand. So let's talk about environment and dot environment modifier. So I'm gonna just clear some space here and let's understand. So think of it as we have a structure, a parent and a child view. So I'll quickly create that. So I'll name it first view. And in here, we'll just call second view, which will be second view. Now, what is environment really? When we talk about environment keyword in both of it, I'll just quickly mention here. So environment is basically, think of it as a global space where you can store things, and then views from other subpart of the application can access that particular value and that you're trying to store. And that is what helps us in storing in the first view, and then second view can access it from the environment. So the first view will actually store a value in the environment, and the second view can access the environment and gain access to that particular value. So let's see this in action first. So we are just calling the second view inside our first view. What we are going to do is use dot environment and just store. We'll give a property name like my name, and we will just store a value. Think of it as this not will be actually getting a lot of errors right now, but just ignore the errors because we are just taking an overview onto what this actually offers us, this concept. So think of it as the first view is where we are just storing things in the environment. So we'll give a variable name here and the value that you want to store. And any other view in the whole application can just gain access to this value. All we have to do is use environment keyword. Make sure it's not environment object. That is what we use to store objects. Environment is a keyword that we have to mention. Create a property here, my name, and give it type. which should be the same type as the value type that you are storing. And this is something that will give you access. So after the environment, we'll have to mention the name of the property. So we use environment to gain access to the value stored in the environment and the modifier to store the value in the environment. Now let's see this. Let's try the rest of the code. So when we talk about my name, this is the property which is storing the value. Now, alone using the modifier is not going to store the value. We will have to make this property part of the environment. So to do that, I will just use environment. I'll just create an extension of environment values. And this is where we will store our property name. So I will say variable property name, give it a type, and I'm going to create a read write computed property here. So there will be a get block and there will be a set block. So what's going to happen is when you assign the value to the property is there inside the environment, and when you assign the value, the set block will get executed, and when you are reading the value or gaining access to the value, the get block will get executed. So this is the read and write, so hence we call it read write computed property. Now here I will just return a value returned from environment, and the set the value, we will need access to my name. So I'm just writing a quick way, new value. This is not the right way to set the value although. So we have to do one more thing, one more step here, because if I will access like this self dot my name, I'm able to access it and will assign the value to it. So new value is where the value comes in when you assign a value to that property in the environment. Now let me do one more thing, that is, since our property is inside the environment now, we have to mention backslash dot so that we can go inside the environment and gain access to the property. And we have to do the same here as well. While gaining access, we will have to tell the path. That is basically when you just give normal brackets, it's you basically inside, basically you are at the environment value, not inside. And this is the way to get inside and you can access any property. So we have our my name property and we can access it just like that. Now here we are getting some error. I have to utilize my name here. So I'm just going to create text, and inside that I'm going to put the environment accessed property. So this gives us access to the environment property my name, and it will get stored inside this property of ours, and then we can use it inside our second view. And just like that, any view in any support of the application can just access it like this. So our code is complete, but there is one more thing left to do. So when we talk about setting the value, our set block runs, right? But the problem here is the way we are setting the value, we are using self.myname, and this is going to give us access to my name, but it's going to run get block, and this goes under recursion. And that's why we are getting the warning as well, that is the function call causes an infinite recursion. So what we do is we create a key actually, and that is where we are going to store our value. So to write something here, we are doing a little more extra work. The rest of the code is good, but the way we are returning the value and assigning the value is where we need some extra steps. So what I'm going to do is just create a structure, and I'm going to create a key. And to make this structure a key, we have to make it conform to environment key. And in here, as soon as the structure my name key conforms to the protocol environment key, you have to add stubs, and let's mention the type of our value that we're storing in our property. So it's going to be string, and there is going to be one more stub, that is the default value. Since we have given the type here, the first stub asks you for the type and it adds up automatically to the second stub. We can just remove the type alias from here, and this is the variable where we actually store the value. So what we would do is, first we will assign it a default value, and we are going to use this key name to uh, return the value here in the get block and to assign value with the help of the key. So let's do it. So we are going to say self, which is going to give us access to the environment values, and all we have to do is just mention here our my name key dot self, and just like this we can access our default value with the help of the key and assign a new value to it. And now that warning is gone, and this is it. These are the three steps that we have to do to actually create the environment property or a property in the environment successfully. Now, first we will run this and quickly see this in action, and we'll go through the code once more. So I'm gonna just use first view, mention it here. We are able to see value. So what we did is we have our first view inside which we're showing second view. And as soon as this second view is called, the modifier is also called. And we have a property inside. When I say inside, we are accessing, getting inside using the backslash dot, getting inside the environment values and accessing and just mentioning this property name and then assigning a value. So it runs the set block. And what this piece of code is doing here is we'll understand in a second. But when we assign the value, this value is assigned to it and it's there in the environment. And this is the second view which we are seeing right now, since this is the text which is displaying value. So we use dot at environment and we mention the path. Basically, this portion is getting inside the environment value and mentioning our property name, and as soon as we mention the property name, it runs the get block and it will pass that value to my name, and that is what we are utilizing to showcase on our UI, and that's why it says value. If we change it to something else, new value, it will reflect the change instantly. Let's make it to 1 and it will make the change. Now let's understand how this key is helping us here. So when the get block is running, we are taking help of key, and when the set block is running, again we are utilizing my name key. So self here is actually environment values, and we use the brackets to mention key, and this key is going to get us Since it's an environment key, it has the stub default value. This is what is going to be returned. And that's what our get block is going to return back to our second view where we are trying to read the value. Now, set block is this portion of the code is just doing the same thing again. It is utilizing the key and giving us the default value. When we use the myname key.self, that is the way we mention the myname key, and the environment key is just going to return you the default value. And that is what we are going to return back to our myname. So in the set block, we are just gaining access and giving the new value. So it's going to assign that value. So when we are using the modifier and giving a new value, it just executes a set block, gain access to default value and assign it a new value. If you do not assign the value, what will happen? During reading the value, it will run the get block, gain access to the default value, and it will give us the default value. And that's what we are showcasing on the UI right now. So if we are assigning a new value, now our default value will have some value, and that is what we are going to get. And that is it. And this is the best practice to whenever you want to create environment variable when it comes to production level application. And that is all there is. I have added quick notes. So this is the systematic example, although I will actually keep it as another example for environment key and value. And it is also exactly same. We have the view1 parent and view2 child. Here we are assigning the value using the modifier, and here we are reading the value using environment, mentioning the property which is there inside our environment value class. And if you go inside this, you will be able to see a lot of things are there. For example, color scheme, and it is actually just a big documentation on color scheme. And if you will just continuously click, this is the public property color scheme, which is basically used for getting access to the theme of the application. Theme of the application, by that I mean the mode. Is it the dark mode or is it the light mode? Which mode of the system is currently is there in the user's device? So let's see one example for this as well. Let's try accessing the existing variable inside the environment we have. So let's get back. And this is our custom. So we create an extension for it. And again, we are using self and the username key and accessing the default value. Here we are getting access to the default value and assigning a new value. And that is it. Now I have mentioned a quick note, and then we'll talk about color scheme. So we are using at environment and just getting inside our environment and accessing that property color scheme, which is already there built in. We'll come to that in a second. Let's go through the notes. So we have our first view and second view. So the first view sets the environment value using the dot environment and this is the way we get inside our environment value and mention the property name, and then you can give the value that is expected by the property type. And second view is automatically receiving it without needing explicit state passing. So we have learned in previous videos that state binding is one way to pass the property from the parent view to child view. This is much better way because this value is stored in the environment and any part of the application can just access it. Now, commonly used environment properties. The one that we created, that is my name. Just like that, we have already created properties in the environment values like color scheme, presented mode, locales, and accessibility, differentiate without color, and managed object context. And these are used, for example, color scheme, it detects the dark and the light mode. So if you are getting the value which is stored inside this property in the environment, you will get to know what is the current mode, whether it's a dark mode or light mode of the user's device. When it comes to presentation mode, it dismisses a sheet model. Locals gives you the user's language or based on the region. For example, it's US, it's going to be English. If it's India, it's going to be some other language. Accessibility is when the user is visually specially abled. That's when the user clicks on the component on the screen, there is a voice that gives the explanation on to which module or which part of the UI you are tapping on. And this is also where we have one property in the environment for accessibility. We have managed object context for core data integration. And there are some examples. I'm not going to go through all of them actually, but let's pick this one and let's see how the built-in variables we can utilize to gain even more clear understanding on environment key and value. I'll encourage you to go through these. These are pretty simple and straightforward now that we understand the concept. Let's talk about color scheme. So I have a simple structure and here I have utilized or accessed the property color scheme using add environment, and I'm just giving the name of my property color scheme. Let me just comment this part and uncomment this text. Let's get more space on our screen. Now we simply have a text here current mode, and in here we are just accessing our color scheme. If it's dark, we're going to print dark. If it's light, we're going to print light. So let's load this as well. Before we load the view, it's just a padding background color and foreground color. And we will go through the background foreground, how we are utilizing color scheme in a second. Let's first load this one. So this is our overall code. Now you can see that the text is saying current mode light, and based on the color scheme we are getting to know that the current mode of the application, what is it exactly. If it's dark, it's going to print dark, but since it's printing light, then the value we have here is light. We have one way here which says canvas device setting color scheme. We can change the value which is stored inside color scheme from here as well. So currently it is not enabled. If I enable it, I can change the mode as well. So if I make it dark, it's gonna give the background dark, that indicates that it's a dark mode. Light appearance will give the background in white. Let's talk about two modifiers, background and foreground. So background color is, if the color scheme is dark, we can give the color black. So if the color scheme is dark, the background color would be black, so that it just get merged with the overall mode of the screen. And the foreground color is going to be white, that is basically the color of the text. And if the color of the text is going to be white, it means the mode is dark. If the color scheme is light, then we cannot keep the white color for our text. Otherwise, it would not be visible. So we are making it black. So let's switch it to light, and you will see that the text color got changed from white to black. Now, this is one way to actually utilize color scheme, but what if you have big applications and you want your application to support both the modes? This would be a tedious way because we have to keep an eye for just whenever we utilize modifiers, we have to keep this in mind. So there is one way, that is, let's comment this code. This is a simple text and I'm giving it modifier foreground system. So we have something known as primary, secondary. If you use primary, it automatically adapts based on the modes of the device. So right now it's showing text for both schemes. It's now showing black because the mode is light. If we switch it to dark, it will turn white for the dark mode. And it has created, if we have secondary, so it looks a bit, the opacity got down a little bit. It is not that bright as it was when it comes to primary. When we switch to light mode, it will look a bit gray. That is secondary. And we have, I guess, system, not sure, but we have something related to system, or we can use dot. There's black. Let's just give it a run. So in the light appearance, it's showing black. If we give dark, we won't be able to see it. So instead of utilizing hard colors, we should go with primary and secondary values. So it's hierarchical shape style, a shape style that maps to first level of current content style. And this is just a better way, and that's how we can actually make our application support. If you want to give some other color like blue, my mouse is a bit faster, I guess, and until it is resolved, you can just move the canvas completely and bring it back, or just paste the preview, and our preview is back. So when it comes to blue or any other color, it will actually support both the modes automatically because most of the colors are visible in dark and light mode. So let's switch to dark. My preview is a bit slow, but now that you can see, it's green is still showing. The problem is only with the white and black color, which goes invisible based on the opposite mode. If you're using white color and it's light mode, then you cannot see it. In dark you can, but in light it will not be visible. So only when it comes to white and black, definitely use primary or secondary. And that is it. Primary is going to show like this, and secondary is going to just make it a little grayish. Let's give it some time, like this. And there is one more way. If we utilizing our view in the preview, we can also sorry. So when it comes to this view, from here we can change the color scheme, but we can turn it off. And in the preview also manually we can write the code for mentioning the dark or the light mode, what the preview mode should be. So it's actually progressing, and now you can see it is reflecting dark. If we turn it to light, your preview will show the view with the mode light mode. So whatever the preferred color scheme you want, it will showcase in that. And that is it. That is how we can use color scheme variable in the environment. And let's talk about the next thing, that is the text field focus. So we are going to handle the keyboard focus. What is it about? So we will understand how to use add focus state. So let's take a look at a simple text field. So I will load this view. And this is a simple text field. We'll make some space. So simple text view example, we have a state property which we're utilizing to take the value whatever the user is going to put inside the text field. So we have this text field. If I will just make it slightly bigger, and it says enter text, which is something we can mention here. As soon as you click on it, so my preview is still slow, so I had to restart Xcode, and now it's working. So as soon as you click on it in the preview, you cannot see it. So let's run this application. So what we are taking a look at is, as soon as you click in the text field, the keyboard pops up. And now let's run this example in the simulator. Before we do that, we will just go to our simulator and IO. In the keyboard, you will see toggle software keyboard. Let's keep it turned on and run the application. And what we're trying to do here is just analyzing how the text field reacts when you just click on it. So let's wait. Now that we are in the simulator, if you click on the text, the keyboard pops up. And this is the feature of the text field. Now, this is only what the text field offers. You can just click a couple of things and that will be all. There is much more that the add focus state offers, and that is what we will take a look at. So I have written a quick brief here. The keyboard only appears when the user types inside the field, but no way to programmatically control the focus. For example, set focus on appear or move focus automatically. So as soon as the view appears, there should be already the text field should be tabbed and the keyboard should have already popped up without us clicking on the text field. And if you want to move the focus automatically to some other text field as soon as you are done entering in the first text field. So these kind of features are very helpful when it comes to creating production level application. It just handles the unnecessary tabs that user has to do. Think of it as you have the OTP or ordering food on your application, and you have four text box or four text fields. You will click on each one and enter one number of the OTP. It's a 4-digit OTP, let's say, and that would be the tedious process. That is where the add focus state comes very much practically useful in real world application. And there is no way for normal text field to dismiss the keyword programmatically. So let's understand what is add focus state. And there is no way to dismiss the keyboard programmatically other than these two. This is another reason that we should use add focus state. So let's understand what is it. So let me just make some space. And we here have the text field focus. We have the property just like at state, which is having two versions. Simple property is the first version and the publisher is the second version of that property. We have at focus state, which makes it publisher. All we have to do is utilize this is text field focused. So we are creating text field here, and we're using the modifier dot text field style, just giving it some style, and dot focus is the modifier we have to use to give the publisher version of our focus state. And adding some padding, we are going to use a button which is going to toggle the value of our focus state. So let's run it first and see this in action, and we'll understand better. So I will enable this one and let's run it. And let's come back to our example. So the view appears, but the cursor is not there on the text field. But as soon as we toggle the value, it will bring the focus to the text field and hence the keyboard as well. And we can type some numbers. So this is just a very simple short example. This is just one feature that as soon as we toggle the value, it's just going to bring the focus on the text field. Let's understand in case of multiple fields we have. So I will enable close the program and let's run multiple field focus view. So here we have the body where we have the vertical stack. Inside that we have one text field, one secure field which we use for password. Whenever you write password, it's just going to show asterisks and it's just going to prevent the password from other people sitting around you from the risk that they will see it. So we use secure field for that, and we have a simple button to give a value to our focused field, which is our add focus state variable. Now previously we were using bool, but here we are using field, which is a enum, has two values, username and password. So our first text is username and second is password. Let's quickly take a preview on it. I guess it will take some time. So let's just run the application quickly. We have some modifiers on it. That is the text field style, which is same, and focus modifier where we have mentioned our focus field. Now, if the field has a value username, it's going to bring the focus to the text field. If the focus field has the value password, it's going to bring the focus to the secure field. And here we have use equals to mention the value. If the value is password, that means the secure field should be in focus, or basically the cursor should be in the text field secure field. So we have the simulator running our application. As soon as the view appears, there's no text field is in focus because we are not using the dot on appear modifier or on appear modifier where we can mention the value to the focus field, but we have the button go to password, which is going to set the value dot password. Now currently it has no value, but as soon as we click go to password, it's going to bring the focus on the second field, which is the secure field, and also it will bring the keyboard also. We can just type anything and you can see it is showcasing dots, not really what you typed. And that is the difference between secure field and text field. It's really just the value inside the add focus states that is going to dictate which field the cursor should be on. And dot focus it is the second type of method where we can actually mention the value as well. If the value of our add focus state variable is this, then the focus will be here. And that is it. This is just an example to showcase that login screens, especially where it is generally used, as soon as the login screen pops up, like the OTP screen, as soon as the login screen pops up in front of user, the focus of the cursor will directly go to the first username text field, and all user has to do is to just type the username, and the moment they click return on the keyboard, it's going to bring the focus down to the second field. So this is one practical quick example in the real world how add focus is utilized. Now let's see one more example where we can dismiss the keyboard as well. So let's bring this in our preview first. So here we have our focus state is focus, which is Boolean. In the V stack, we have only one component text field, tab outside to dismiss. We have an option to give constant text that you want to showcase. Let me refresh the view quickly. And meanwhile, we can just go through the code. We have the textual style, rounded border, and finally dot focus, where we are mentioning our add focus state property. We have given the padding and a background to the padding and dot on tap gesture. As soon as you tap in the padding somewhere, you're just going to assign a value false to our is focus state. So basically, as soon as you click on the text field, or let's run this actually on the app simulator. So as soon as right now, initially there will be no value to it. And as soon as you click on the red portion, the value is going to become false. And we can click on the text field to give this focus the value that is true. So right now, that is focus is nowhere. It is having no value. When you click on text field, now the focus value is true. If you click on the red portion, it is going to assign false value to its focused. As soon as it's false, it's going to bring the focus from the text field away. Let's do it. It brings the focus away. The cursor is no longer in the text field, and the keyboard also is not required, so it just goes back out of the screen. And that is it. Now these are some things that we can do which normally the text field do not offer, and that's why we saw a simple text field view example first. These are the problems. No way to programmatically control focus, set focus on appear, or move focus automatically, which we can do using add focus state property. There is no way to dismiss the keyboard programmatically, which we have just seen. And that is all. I will give some space to these examples. So whenever you feel like just going through the concept once again, just come to this file, go through the notes and code, the examples, and I promise you, you'll be back on track. And let's see one real world example, that is the OTP view, where we're going to create this screen pretty quickly, and we'll understand the advantage of utilizing add focus. So we have 4 text fields for these gray rectangles, and we are utilizing a lot of code here, which is going to tell us what all other benefits are there. And we are utilizing modifiers more than enough to understand what more benefits are there of utilizing add focus state. But you can see the same modifiers are applied to first, second, third, and fourth as well, but the fourth one does not have this on change modifier. So we'll talk about what this onChange modifier is and why it is only for the first text field. So we are done just taking overview on the ad stake. We have a simple text enter OTP with a title font and some padding, and that is all there we have in the body. Actually, one more thing, the button. So when you click on the button, we are going to assign value nil to our add focus state. Now add focus state property focused field is right here, which is of type OTP field. So its value is going to determine where the cursor or the focus should be, which field it should be, where the focus should be, whether it's the first text field or second or third or fourth. So the value it has is going to decide that. So we have four OTP 1, 2, 3, 4. It's basically simple empty string at the moment. The values OTP field are going to have is the OTP1, OTP2, 3. It's a enum. And once you click on submit, it's just going to assign nil. As soon as the view appear, so we have the modifier on view appear, it's just going to give a value to our add focus property focus field, that is .otp1. That basically means that when we have our first field, we are utilizing dot focused and mentioning our add focus property, and if it is equals to OTP1, what happens? The cursor just goes to the first text field, right? And let's understand the rest of the modifiers as well. We have frame 50 by 50, background color, multi-line text alignment, dot center. It's just there to give some alignment to it to keep the value centered. We have given a new modifier called keyboard type dot number pad. So you can see we can actually give when this text field is in focus, when the cursor is on this text field, which kind of keyboard should pop up. It is a number keyboard and it is due to our modifier dot keyboard type. And we can have multiple types of keyboard here, alphabet and email address, which gives priority layout, which makes easier for the user to write the email address. A number phone pad or number pad. So we are currently using number pad. The focus is for, just utilizing on changes the new one. So as soon as you are done entering a text in it, as soon as there is any change in the text field, it is just going to move the focus to the next field. How? Let's see. So as soon as there is a change in the OTP1, which is our state property OTP1, it's not the enum OTP1, it's the state OTP1, which is currently empty. And that's why we are seeing no numbers. But as soon as there is any change inside the text field, or basically the text which is going to be appearing here, because as soon as you write anything in the text field, it's just going to pass your entered text to the state property OTP1. So as soon as there is any change, and when the change will happen, as soon as you write the first letter or first number, after that it will not give you time to write the second number, and it will just move to the next field. It will move to the next field basically means, let's go to the method. Actually we have it right here, so let's scroll to it, which is right here. So if the OTP1 count is equals to 1, the focused field value should be changed to OTP2, which is a enum. So the focus field value changed to OTP2 means it will move the focus to the second text field. That means the cursor will come to the next field. And as soon as it comes to the next field, the value is basically OTP2. So the text field, this one is there. And on change of the text inside the OTP2, the second state, it will just bring focus to the next one. So let's understand this by first running the application. So I will enable our OTP view and it will give us more clarity. You can see we have the 4 text fields, the title, enter OTP, and the submit button, which is right here. So as soon as you click one, it's going to move the focus to the next field. That is because the first text field was initially empty. As soon as there was a change in the OTP1 state property, which is due to this onChange modifier, it got to know that there is a change in the OTP1 state property. So execute the closure, that is move to the next field, and move to the next field. It's just going to understand the OTP1.count is 1. That is basically the entered text. If it is equals to 1, then move it to .otp2. So it's going to check if we change it to 2, it will allow us to enter 2 values, 2 text, and then it will move the focus to the next text field. When we click on this one, it will move to the third one because we are using the onChange modifier for the first, second, right here, and for the text field third also we are utilizing onChange. So as soon as you write the third, it will move the focus to the fourth one. Now we are not using onChange for the fourth one because we don't have any new value to move to, but if we use change of the value OTP, we do not have the state, we don't, yeah, OTP4. So if OTP4 value has changed, we have entered something in the fourth text field. What we want to do is we're going to move text, just going to call this method, and in here we'll do one more thing. If OTP4.count is equals to 1, then focus field should be .otp, and this is going to bring the focus to the first text field. So let's see this in action. Now where the focus automatically goes to the first text field, let's click. Okay, my simulation is slow actually. So even though I'm able to enter 2, it just checks if its count is 1. It just moved it immediately, but the UI reflected it a bit later. It's because of the glitch. But we are actually trying to understand when we get to the fourth and we enter, it will bring it to the first text field. So the OTP4.count is 1. It will move the focus to the OTP1. So the value of the focus field decides where the focus or the cursor should be at what text field. And that is it. I have written some notes here which will help you gain clarity or remember this use case. Let's take a quick read on it. So the real world example use case we just saw, the add focus state is useful in a login screen with OTP input. The keyboard automatically appears when the screen loads because we are using onAppear and assigning a value to focus field. If there is no value in the focus field, then there is no text field which is having the cursor. The user type and OTP code and focus automatically shifts to the next input field. The keyboard dismiss when the user taps on submit. So we didn't actually try this, but basically when you click on the button, it just makes it null or nil. That basically is going to move the focus away from all the text fields and the keyboard will just go away, which is similar to what we have seen in the previous example. When you click on the red portion, and the key differences when we talk about at focus state and the normal text field, the normal text field has not a lot of things to offer, and focus state has the autofocus on view appear, programmatic focus hinge, automatically move to the next field, and dynamically dismiss the keyboard. Search bars. So when you are making the user move to the next uh, view where it's a search bar view basically, and you can just on appear modifier of the view, you can just mention the value of the focus state property and it will bring the focus to the search bar. So autofocus the search bar field when the user taps search button on the previous page. If they click search, it will just bring them to the next view, or in the same view it will bring the focus to the text field search bar which is there on the top. And login forms moved from email to password field automatically. Survey forms navigate through multiple form fields without tapping each one manually. And the best example would be the OTP. We don't like to enter OTPs one by one, selecting each field. So it's kind of mandatory in production level applications to use add state annotation. And that is all. We have one more thing to do using AsyncImage. And now let's take a look at one last thing using AsyncImage, which is pretty good and straightforward to understand because in concurrency code we have learned about what is asynchronous, and it is just a way of fetching image from with the help of the URL asynchronously. That means if it takes time, the UI will wait. We can show the progress view meanwhile. So let's understand the example. So we have the async image keyword. For that we mention the URL, and this is the Pixum URL. This is a great website where the images for free, and kudos to Pixum. And we can just utilize it because it is very useful. It's just going to refresh the image every second actually. And if you are hitting this URL, you're going to get new images at every second. So all we are doing is just utilizing this URL to get the image. Once we have the image, it might take some time. The thread will take this task of fetching the image from the URL as something that it can suspend in between as well. So first the task will come on the thread in a way that it will be suspended. The thread will schedule it automatically on its own as per its convenience. And once it schedules it, it will start it. It may suspend it in between to do some other important work, come back, resume it, and maybe suspend it once again to do some other important work again, come back and just resume and complete it. So it might take some time for the thread to fetch the image. And that is why we use asynchronous or async keyword here to fetch the image but asynchronously. So we have the first closure where as soon as we have the image, we're just going to resize it, scale to fit, and give it some frame. Let's refresh this. And we have the placeholder. Meanwhile, when our thread is fetching the image, we can just show progress view. So I've mentioned a quick note here as well. AsyncImage is a SwiftUI view that loads and displays an image asynchronously from a URL. It just reducing the performance overhead. And let's wait. So we got the image. It was showing a progress view. If we run it again, you will see it is showing the progress view and then shows the image. That is all there is when it comes to async image. Very straightforward. If you especially come from concurrency course, it's gonna be easy peasy for you to understanding async image. And that is all there is. I hope you find this video informative, and I will connect with you in the next one.